Back to Waxy Brown's Flower Power Hour on KKID 92.9. We're having a great time. So I got one of our favorite content producers on the planet from www.greenbee-learn.com. We got Izzy Clawson on for Terp Talk. Izzy, welcome back to the program.
Hi.
What are we talking about this week, Izzy?
Yeah, so this week I wanted to talk about Delta 8 and specifically how it contrasts with Delta 9 because there's a lot of Delta 8 out there. It has gained huge popularity. Now it feels like almost everyone has at least heard of Delta 8, but, really understanding what that cannabinoid is and, why it makes you feel the way it does and kind of understanding those misconceptions I think is really important as we move forward with these other cannabinoids coming out as well.
So before you get into that, and just to kind of give you a heads up, Channel 5 last night on Channel 5 News had this big story about Delta 8 and how people were being put on respirators after smoking it. So
A bunch of misinformation.
well,
Big pharma.
But it was based on the vapes, the Delta 8 vapes, not just the
Right,
flower.
right.
Okay, so when you talk about Delta 8, let's clarify that this is the cannabis based Delta 8, not something mixed with the cartridge that you don't know what that breakdown was.
Yeah, she's going to take us through a walk because there are a lot of street products out there.
And that's huge and very important to note. When Delta 8 is a cannabinoid that's not as super big in the cannabis plant, it's not found in like large quantities. So a lot of times to get Delta 8, we have to synthesize it from CBD. And so to synthesize something like Delta 8, you do need various materials. And with it being so legal-ish, it's definitely not illegal. It comes under the hemp law, but there's definitely not regulations with it. And due to that, you do have to be very cautious with who you're getting your, especially vape carts from, because there could be various things mixed in. And if you don't know the label, you don't know what the company's practices are, you can end up getting something that is very dangerous, despite the fact that there is medicinal benefits to Delta 8. You want to make sure that Delta 8 you're consuming is good, legitimate Delta 8.
So let's talk about Delta 8. What is it?
Okay, so Delta 8, the way I describe it, is the little cousin of Delta 9, THC. And it's important to note that when we say Delta 8, we're still talking about THC. Delta 9 is also THC. Just so we normally hear the word THC, we're thinking of Delta 9, which is that psychoactive cannabinoid that is illegal still in many states. But Delta 8 is very similar. It's like a little cousin, and it does still have some psychoactive effects that Delta 9 has, just not necessarily to the same degree. And I was very skeptical of this cannabinoid at first. I remember when there was kind of rumors that Delta 8 was a thing, it could get you high, but some people said it didn't, and so I was unsure, and so I had to test it out myself, and I bought a 1,000 milligram Delta 8 cake whenever I was in Chicago, and it completely changed my perception on Delta 8. Took a couple bites just to try it out, and definitely did the job. So I will say to people who are skeptical, when you do get good, legitimate Delta 8, there is definitely psychoactive properties to the Delta 8 tea.
I find myself, I use Delta 8 products, my wife and I do, and what we use them for is to help get rest at night. I found that it really is that product that at the end of the day, I'll take a couple of Delta 8 edibles and find myself in a real relaxed, because I have trouble chasing sleep, so it's good to find products that help.
Yeah, for sure. Delta 8 has a variety of medicinal benefits, and one of those big ones is actually helping sleep patterns and helping regulate your sleep. A lot of times when it comes to, picking the right thing before bed, like you said, sometimes Delta 8 is even preferred over Delta 9 because it is so good at helping with sleep. And there's a lot of other benefits, potential benefits of Delta 8, such as relieving stress, improving focus, easing pain, reducing anxiety, boosting appetite, and relieving nausea and vomiting. Sometimes Delta 8 is actually even preferred to THC in nausea cases as well because it's really good at helping with nausea. And in addition to these medicinal benefits, I also recommend Delta 8 for people that tend to get paranoid with Delta 9. If someone said, hey, I've tried this whole weed thing, but it makes me really paranoid and I don't like it, I normally say, hey, well, if you're willing to give it another chance, try Delta 8, because it still is going to get you stoned to a degree, but it has a lot less of those
right.
like paranoia factors as well, so it might be a much more enjoyable high than something like Delta 9.
Just goes to
And
show you, science will always outrun the law.
Well, yeah, because Izzy touched on something. She said that that's not regulated, right?
Yep.
But regulation isn't necessarily always what I'm going for first. I would rather have research. I'd rather have it to where these laws allowed us to. We should already know, Izzy. 20 years ago, we should have had all this information if the federal government would have let us do what we were supposed to do with this information, and that's research it, right?
yeah, and the sad thing was they were starting to do research, really great research, like in the 70s, and then, got all that racially motivated fear-mongering that occurred, and, it just really shut everything down. Like, they were starting to do research, and I can only imagine if that research wouldn't have been stomped on, where we would be today. But, that's why I'm always advocating, this is what I've learned from the little research I've done, but, this is just scratching the surface. We need more studies, more research, more people looking into this, because there's so much potential for things that it can help, and such a wide variety. I'm such a big advocate for people using cannabis to medicate in various ways, but, like these whole talks I've been telling people, it's all about the terpenes, the cannabinoids, the different combinations. I always say there's a strain for everyone and everything. You just have to know where to look for and try some things out to find what's best for you. But unfortunately, without all that research, it's really hard to find the best thing for people, because we're kind of doing guess and check work and trying our best, but not necessarily always having the resources we need to accurately and fully medicate someone to the best of our abilities.
A strain for everyone, for everything. That's awesome stuff. Izzy, where can folks find out? Because look, as I know that your website's growing and you're putting stuff on there all the time, where can they find out more information and find this content that you've got out there?
Yes, you can go to greenbee-learn.com for all kinds of information about the cannabis plant.
Awesome stuff. Izzy, we're going to catch you next week. Thanks so much for the info.
Thanks. Bye.
All right.